So I believe in the words of the Apostles' Creed, in the Nicene Creed, Chalcedonian Creed. I believe that all of us should maybe try to live into the Sermon on the Mount, the red words of Jesus. There's so many beautiful things about Christianity. However, this past week, I felt like I didn't belong, and I also felt like, man, I don't know if I want to belong. Now, I only say that because it's true, but also because it's very important to name your emotions as you have them. And I only say it out loud because I think some of the youth feel the same way. And that's okay. And some of you even texted me about it throughout the week, saying that you don't know if you like Christianity right now. And that's okay to admit out loud because it needs to be admitted when you feel that way. It's a very difficult thing to name our emotions as they happen. However, I also think it's not helpful for a pastor or a preacher to bleed out. And I don't think I'm doing that. But it is important that we learn to embrace all of the colors and flavors and emotions of life and to see it through a Christocentric lens. That means you look at it through Christ and not through anything else. This past week, I know some of you already saw some of the things that were happening on the news. I actually believe some of you saw it faster than maybe your parents did because you saw some of it unroll over social media. And everybody knows that when you have a smartphone in your pocket, you actually have the ability to get the news faster than any generation ever has before. Well, this past week when I saw pictures of a cross being set up and a gallows right next to it on Capitol Hill, I found it actually a little bit ironic because both of those were vehicles to shame and exclude and make examples of people. It was just the first century version of doing it and then another century's version of doing it. Then I was led to do a YouTube search. Don't do that. It's not a good idea. I suggest not doing that. But I was like, my goodness, what are some preachers saying? And I very quickly found YouTube videos of like preachers that have 250,000 views daily and yet never went to seminary. And I watched some of these videos and I was like, oh my goodness, there is such a thing as really bad preachers out there. And I noticed a number of things, and that's what leads me to this little homily and the main point. Words create worlds. It's just a very simple idea. But the words that we use matter, and then the way that we use our words also matters. And so what I found out as I was paying attention to news throughout the week, as I was paying attention to different religious figures, try to give a thoughtful response to it, I noticed a number of things. Whenever words are being used to divide and dehumanize people, that is the opposite of Christianity. But whenever words are being used in a way to elevate people and to unite them, all of them, that's a very different thing. It's actually a very Christian principle to raise people up in dignity rather than shove them down, and to unite all of humanity rather than say, these are the best parts of humanity, these are not, so as to exclude them. But I also noticed something else as I was paying attention to some of these YouTube videos that some of you were sending me. Some of these videos were interesting, because they actually had rhetoric that sought to divide and dehumanize the other person. But they also tapped into using fear and anger and shame. They sought to scapegoat or to deify someone else. Deify means like, do you raise them up to like the level of God? whenever you do those things, you know that you're creating or speaking a world into existence that does not look like the kingdom of God as it exists in the Sermon on the Mount. But when we use words and rhetoric and with a touch of emotion that's appropriate to elevate people and to unite them, to speak love and joy and peace and patience and goodness and kindness and faithfulness and self-control into the world, then you are doing one of the most godlike things you could do, which is to speak a new world into existence. Your generation has a unique opportunity because the world is going to be yours soon. And you have a decision. What kind of world do you want to live in? Will it be one that's guided by authentic Christian values that seek to elevate and unite people, that brings more love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, and self-control into the world? Or the opposite? Genesis is this beautiful, I believe it's a poem, that outlines the beauty of God and how God actually creates the whole universe, and then he lets the universe bring forth what it can. May you bring forth what you can that is beautiful and good and true and loving in this world. That is what it means to be like Christ. The universe, yes, it might be done having been created, but it's not yet what it will be. Just like a seed is not yet a fully blossomed flower, the universe is still blossoming, and that's why it matters the words that we use. Many of you know of bullies in your schools. I understand a lot of you understand what internet bullying is, sometimes better than adults do. The words that we use matter. But here's the last thought. We kind of pulled together Genesis 1 and Galatians 5 just now. We just brought together how it's important to always elevate other people into greater dignity and purpose and honor and value because we all bear the image of God. Just not always do we have Christ-likeness, but we all are image bearers at all times. So then we're always capable of greater Christ-likeness. Now, last thought. I believe really good sermons speak with prophetic imagination about the world that could be if we all actually lived into having sacrificial love for one another. The universe can still blossom even when it has setbacks. But that's why it's important for you and I to step into each new morning with prophetic imagination and make a conscious, loving decision to speak into existence the world that Christ knows is possible. May you this week be a prophetic Imagineer of what kind of world is possible when we pick each other up and unite together around Christ, who is our perfect example of love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, and self-control. May grace and peace be with you. I love you.